What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Now, we're not going to go straight into the intro, as we must say goodbye to Howard Finkel. Now, news broke just about an hour ago that legendary WWE ring announcer and Hall of Famer Howard Finkel has passed away at the age of 69. The Fink, as he became affectionately known to fans and wrestlers alike, began announcing for the WWF all the way back in 1977 and became an institution in Madison Square Garden and WWF television. Howard Finkel was known for his encyclopedic knowledge of wrestling history, and wrestling legend has it he came up with the name Wrestlemania for the WWF's inaugural closed-circuit Super Show. The Fink participated in several angles during his career, including a tuxedo match against manager Harvey Whippleman and even a match against Lillian Garcia. He was inducted into the WWE's 2009 Hall of Fame class. Wrestlelamia sends its thoughts and prayers to Howard Finkel's family and friends. But join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, WWE making record profits after cuts, Roman Reigns' big news and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. But let's waste no further time and get straight into the first story, as we could see more main roster releases. After a massive amount of releases on 15th April, could there be even more to come? Speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer chimed in saying, "Based on what I was told tonight, I don't think there will be any more main roster talent cuts. As far as NXT names, I'm sure there's a lot more to come out." Well, that's contradictory to WrestleVotes, where he mentioned, "All I can say is wow at this point. The number of people, staff and talent let go will be in the hundreds when it's all said and done." Well into the hundreds. A dark day in WWE history. Well, like WrestleVotes said, while the number of main roster cuts is astonishing, the WWE roster is so big that the company could make additional cuts and still have a deep roster. As for NXT, there have been some releases. As reported yesterday, wrestlers Deonna Purrazzo, Alexander Jaksic, and MJ Jenkins were released along with coaches Ace Steel, Kendo Kashin, and Serena Deeb. WrestlingNews.co has now revealed that Cassius Ohno, who's been working behind the scenes and on some NXT UK shows, has been moved to the alumni section of WWE.com, but his status has not been confirmed. It's unknown whether the coaches have been laid off or released outright. Next up, does WWE really have $500 million in cash? Now, the WWE is being criticized for laying off a number of wrestlers and employees during the ongoing health crisis, despite a reported $500 million cash surplus. Well, recently, Forbes.com's Alfred Konuwa commented, "WWE's mass layoffs stand in stark juxtaposition to smaller and poorer combat sports promotions that are opting to retain staff and ride this out, something that WWE can afford to do more comfortably than just about anybody." Early in the spread of the coronavirus, WWE's first official statement on the matter remained investors of its substantial financial resources, both available cash and debt capacity, which currently total more than $0.5 billion to manage the challenges ahead. While we and other commentators have observed that the WWE has been faltering in the ratings and other important indicators such as ticket and merchandise sales have dipped, its television deals have buttressed the company, creating the illusion of a thriving company. However, the reality has slowly emerged, as seen with the company's stock dropping from $100 to under $40. While the $500 million figure is being thrown about as a huge cash reserve, which it is, ProWrestling.net's Jake Barnett disputes the number, tweeting, "There seems to be a misconception that WWE has $500 million in cash on their hand. They had $90 million in liquid cash at the end of 2019 on their balance sheet. That means the rest of the liquidity would come from fully leveraging existing revolving credit lines. They also have $350 million in ongoing liabilities when it comes to leasing buildings and equipment and outstanding income from places such as Saudi Arabia. These numbers are all publicly available on WWE's investor page. If the WWE's cash reserves are only $90 million, the promotion could be on shakier financial ground than believed." Next up, is WWE making record profits after the cuts? As we've just seen, there seems to be confusion about how much the WWE is worth and how much it is planning on making in 2020. As we have suggested, the WWE's roster cuts are likely part of Vince McMahon's ever-changing cosmetic changes to the WWE that give the illusion of financial success to stockholders so that the stock will grow rather than diminish in value. Dave Meltzer recently commented on the Wrestling Observer Radio about what he sees as huge profits for the WWE in 2020. They're on par now, or they're on target, that if they do not do another Saudi Arabia show this year, if they do not do another house show this year, if they do not make a dime in merchandise this year, which they will, if they do not make a dime in licensing this year, which they will, they are on target to do close to $1 billion, maybe even over $1 billion in total revenue, depending on how much the network holds up. The WWE's Q1 financial earnings report will be released later in April, so fans and investors should have an idea where things are going in 2020. Nevertheless, Meltzer thinks 2020 will be bigger than ever. If there's 0 network subscribers, which is not going to happen, we're talking about $850 million in revenue. It's probably going to wind up being close to $1 billion, which is more than they have done in any year in the history of the company. Based on the WWE's performances over the last year, we disagree with Diamond Dave's predictions. WWE stock tumbled from $100 last year to just under $40 right now, and unless the WWE make an incredible profit in Q1, it's difficult to see the new financial report setting Wall Street on fire. Next up, Cody comments on Zack Ryder's release. Like many people, current AEW wrestler and Executive Vice President Cody Rhodes discussed the rash of releases in the WWE, commenting on that of his longtime friend Zack Ryder. Cody posted a picture of Ryder winning the Intercontinental Championship and a message on Instagram that read, "I'd like to take a moment to say how proud I am to be a friend of Zack Ryder. In a world of weekend warriors and play wrestlers, this dude exudes passion and a drive for professional wrestling like no other. At 34 years young, his best wrestling days are ahead of him, and 14 years of unrelenting blood, sweat and tears. Future endeavors are limitless when you actually endeavor." Fans are already speculating whether Ryder might be one of the first WWE wrestlers released to come to AEW. As mentioned in past videos, AEW President Tony Khan has repeatedly stated AEW is not a haven for former WWE superstars, but with Ryder's skills and Cody's good word, we might see him in AEW later this year. Next up, Killer Kross's new name. Killer Kross appeared at the end of the 15th April NXT episode, attacking Tommaso Ciampa. Not only does it look like Kross will be getting a big push, he'll be getting a new name. WrestlingNews.co's Paul Davis is reporting based on new merchandise on WWE.com, it looks like Kross will be known as Karrion Kross. His former name kinda has a better ring to it, but it could be a trademark issue. Next up, Roman Reigns' big news. Roman Reigns' decision to pull out of WrestleMania 36 is a personal matter that was his to make. Nonetheless, wrestling fans are always looking for answers, and we may have more hints as to why the big dog passed on wrestling Goldberg for the Universal Championship. Not only is Roman dealing with a compromised immune system, but he has 2 new babies. Reigns spoke with Muscle and Fitness and revealed 3 kids with 2 in the oven. I'm looking to be a Papa Bear 5. Breaking news, we haven't even shared that. However, according to Ringside News' Felix Upton, it's believed Roman's wife gave birth sometime between the Royal Rumble and Super Showdown. Congratulations to the Reigns family on their new addition. Roman could even have his own roster of 4th generation superstars the way his family is growing. Next up, did Hulk Hogan pass on playing the lead in The Wrestler? Hulk Hogan's film roles aren't exactly the stuff of legend unless you're talking legendary bad films such as No Holds Barred, Suburban Commando or Santa with Muscles. However, the Hulkster apparently had a chance to appear in one of the most celebrated films of 2008, Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler, which told a story of a broken down 80s superstar looking for one more chance at glory. During an episode of his podcast, 83 Weeks, Eric Bischoff addressed the rumors that Aronofsky wanted Hogan to play the lead role.
He had the opportunity. I'm sorry, do you remember the director of that movie?
Darren Orlovsky?
Yeah, I met with Darren. Darren wanted to meet with me in New York about being in the movie as well. So it's not like there were a lot of people, Ernest the Cat Miller was in the movie for crying out loud.
Sure.
So, Darren reached out to a lot of people in the industry and early on did reach out to Hulk.
The film could have been the highlight of Hogan's filmography, but Bischoff thinks he knows why the Hulk passed on the project.
So I think, Terry, probably looked at that script and went, I don't want to play a broken down old. I am a broken down old beat up wrestler.
Right.
I don't want to play one in a movie.
Sure.
He was trying to run away from the reality, not embrace it at that point.
What do you think the film would have been like had the Hulkster played the lead character? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, Hurricane Helms' regret. Last but not least, Shane Helms, aka WWE legend The Hurricane, was one of several WWE producers furloughed from the company on Wednesday. Helms has worked as a backstage producer since 2019, and while he's undoubtedly bummed by what happened, he found time to tweet, "I knew I shouldn't have answered that call." With any luck, the Hurricane's phone will ring with some new employment opportunities once the ongoing health crisis ends. But there you have it guys, the wildest news stories and rumours you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, tell us your favourite Fink moment, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.